So my name is Jacob Butler, and I'm the Community Gardens Coordinator for the Cultural Resource Department. Well, the funding for the garden originally was through a grant, and it started in 1998, and it was a Habitat for Humanities grant. It was a cooperative grant with the University of Arizona, Arizona State University, and the tribe. The two components of the program was a garden over in Lehigh, and the produce that came from that garden was taken to the Phoenix Farmers Market, and so it was a for-profit grant. And then the secondary component was to create a seed bank. And the grant ended, and then we approached the tribe to ask that this program be continued and become a part of the Cultural Resource Department. And the tribe accepted our proposal with the condition that we no longer sell the produce, but we utilize this garden as a platform to perpetuate our culture. So out here, we don't use any kind of chemical fertilizers, like we don't use any like ammonium nitrate or anything like that. Because a lot of studies show that the plants will accept about 30% of that, and 70% stays in the soil, and the plants don't even utilize it. And because we're a traditional garden, they didn't have those kind of things before. Because we use traditional methods, the only things we buy from the store would be like fish emulsion. And it's basically ground up fish that is turned into kind of like a liquid fertilizer, but there's no real chemicals added to it. It's all natural materials. And then any other additives that we put in the soil are either OMRI certified ingredients, which means they're organic certified, or they come straight from the garden itself. Like we do a lot of composting. We utilize mulch heavily. One of the best ways to deal with pests in your garden is to plant a diverse garden. So you try to get a diverse range of different things, so that if there is a bug that's impacting one crop, you're still gonna get other things to grow, and you're still going to have some type of yield at the end of the season. The other thing we do, like if we have aphids or things like that, is we use antibacterial soap, and we just mix it up with water, and we spray the plants, and that chokes the little aphids, and then they can't breathe and they end up dying. We use chili and garlic to spray all over our plants so that other rodents and animals won't eat the plant because they don't like the smell. So we have a number of different plants. We have some plants that are traditional that have been here for time immemorial. We have what we call indigenous seed. We have seed that's traditional seed, and then we have seeds and plants that have been acculturated. So I guess I'll explain what I consider the difference between that. So indigenous plants and seeds are things that have been here for forever. They were created here. So like the tepary beans, they're from this area. They're from here. They were here before the people, and we started eating them, and so they're indigenous. There's traditional seed that we've grown for thousands of years, but they may have came from other places, like corn, for instance. All corn comes from Mexico. We've had corn in Arizona, I believe, for about 3,000 years. So that's a traditional seed of our people. We've always had it for as far back as we can remember. So for time immemorial, we've had corn, but it's not necessarily indigenous to the land. And then there's plants that have been acculturated too, or brought into the community, and I guess you can say corn was that way as well. But things like citrus, the mission fig. The mission fig was brought with Father Kino, but it's been here for a few hundred years, and everybody grew them in our community, and so we grew all them here. Also, this mesquite tree, or what we call a kui, is used medicinally. And let me pull one of these off. So this is like a yellow sap, and we call it ushap, and it's pretty sticky, and so people would actually suck on this, and it would help soothe their sore throats and things like that. But if you have a nick or a cut or a scrape, you can actually take this and put it into your wound, and it actually has antibacterial properties, so it helps clean that wound and keep it from getting infected. Um, and I would encourage anybody that wants to learn more to just come out and ask us a few questions. Take a walk with us, and we can show you some of these plants that are used. So the primary harvest that we do, like the bulk of what we grow goes to our seed bank. Right now we're all about rebuilding what we once had. And so primarily everything goes to the seed bank, and then any excess goes to the other programs so that they can utilize them within their own programs for the community. As children, especially in my generation, we're always taught that you don't want to grow up digging ditches, you don't want to grow up working in a field, you don't want to basically have that life. You want to be successful, and that wasn't considered successful. And so I actually went to school for commercial arts, and I took tribal development at SEC for a while, and I never thought I'd be working in the middle of a field. Um, but when I started getting into who we were as a people and what we did on a daily basis, this is who we were. We were farmers. Our heritage goes back thousands of years here. And our ancestors created over 1,000 miles of canal systems on the Salt River Valley alone that irrigated over 100,000 acres of land. So that's a very deep legacy and something to be proud of. But we're being taught that that's something to be shunned or to look down upon. But you're looking down upon our own culture when you do that. You're thinking of yourself like you're less than because we're not living to the standards that other people dictate we should. And so I'm all for acculturation. And acculturation means moving into the future and becoming, taking advantage of all the modern conveniences and being productive citizens.